A grand jury has indicted 9 people for their involvement in a drunk driving crash that killed 2 people on prom night in Boulder. Prosecutors say a 17-year-old girl was drunk and driving the wrong way when she crashed head-on with a Lyft driver, killing the driver and his passenger. Now, 9 other people are also charged: 5 parents, 2 fake ID companies, and a bus driver and a liquor store. Joining me now to go over the details of this case is our legal analyst, Whitney Traylor. Thanks for coming in.
Sure, it's good to be here.
Is this unusual to have so many people and companies involved in this?
Yeah, it is in a way, because the grand jury actually made the indictment to these various companies. So what happened was, this young girl, there was just bad decision after bad decision. And so they were drinking at the parents' house, and the parents apparently knew about it. This is how the charges go. Then they went on the bus company. The bus had policies about not having drinking or whatever, and they continued to drink there. Then they went to another parent's house, and then the girl left to go to the liquor store to buy more alcohol. And so what they did, I think what the DA did, was bring the grand jury together and present charges to try and bring these other people in. Now, they were charged, but they were charged for things like producing a fake ID, giving alcohol, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Yeah. Exactly. So they had these somewhat minor charges, but I think the DA may have been seeking stronger charges, and the investigation's still open.
So I know it's early, but do you think that the defendants in this case have a strong defense?
Well, I think it depends on what they're charged with. So some of the parents, for example, who gave alcohol before even prom, and then they drank on the bus, at prom, on another bus, at another parent's, it's going to be too attenuated to say, look, these parents here were the reason for this accident. So to try and sort of attribute what happened in terms of the accident is going to be difficult. But some of the other charges, certainly contributing to a minor, I don't know that they'll have a strong defense there. So, but they said the DA issued a press release saying that folks were not really cooperating with them. But
really?
Yeah, that's why they did the grand jury and issued subpoenas.
So regardless of what happens in the criminal trial, do you expect each of these defendants to be sued civilly?
Yes, I absolutely expect them to be sued civilly, and more people. For example, the auto insurance, the homeowner's insurance. So I suspect that folks will be sued civilly, and they'll be trying to go after the parents for even the kids' behavior on what's called vicarious liability, but also based on the fact that they were drinking in the homes and on the bus, and the liquor store was known to sell, this is the allegation, that they were known to sell liquor to underage kids.
You know, I feel like there's been other cases where parents have been sued in cases like this where they're supplying alcohol to minors, right?
Well, there's kind of a body of case law throughout the nation that's looking at parental liability. So, for example, in the Michigan mass shooting, the parents supplied the guns, they knew, so the parents actually were charged in that case on the criminal shooting. And then there's been other cases with, for example, gun manufacturers, and so now you're starting to see where courts and legislatures are trying to find liability for someone like a parent or someone who has greater responsibility. So we don't necessarily have that here, but there will be civil cases.
A real quick question for you, because I'm getting wrapped, but I do have a quick question. So the 17-year-old girl that's at the center of all this, right now she's being charged as a minor. That's why we don't have her name. Do you suspect that they might change that to being charged as an adult, or do we have any idea?
So the DA made that decision, and so it was vehicular homicide, vehicular assault. There's a number of charges. So I think the juvenile and adult statute, it changed recently, but I think this is the type of charge that she could be charged as an adult, and she was only 17.
Right.
So as the investigation goes on, that could change.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in, Whitney. Really appreciate it. We'll see what happens.
Sure thing.